Let's see if that works out, because I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. And now I think we've got it. Let's see. Okay, I think we are streaming live on the Merrick Library Facebook page. I will let you all know if that is the case. Let's see. I think we are good. Yes. Okay, we are good. Sorry about that, folks. Technical problems. Mine, of course. So thank you all for bearing with me. But I am live here, Merrick Library Facebook page, with author Gretchen Anthony. Gretchen, thank you so much for being here on the Merrick Library Facebook page.
I'm thrilled. Yeah, I'm thrilled. I love chatting with you. Like I said,
we somehow it was like that fast. So for all of the Merrick Library patrons, welcome. I'm glad to see you. You have so many options out there to watch things. Mayor of Easttown was last night, so hopefully you recorded that. You can always catch up with that at another time.
I haven't watched that.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't started the series yet. Should I start the series?
I mean, I'm a binge watcher, so it's very hard for me because I now have to wait every Sunday night at 10 o'clock. So I have to watch it Monday because it's past my bedtime because I'm a baby and I have to go to sleep. But it's great. And Kate Winslet is wonderful. So yes, I highly recommend it. I think it's we're up to the 4th episode. Hold on to your hat. That's all I can say.
Okay. Okay. Good to know.
So I'm thrilled that everybody who was here is joining us tonight. You can watch Mayor of Easttown later. Merrick patrons, I am so glad that you're here. People, friendly people from near and far, thank you for joining us tonight. We have a wonderful guest. You already met her, Gretchen Anthony, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my history with Gretchen Anthony and how I met her. She wrote this debut novel called Evergreen Tidings from the Baumgartners. This book, joyful, funny, sweet, kind, completely immersive. If you are having a bad day, if you need something to completely just take things off your plate, this is the book you're going to want to read. I'm not even kidding. Gretchen knows how much I love this book. I got it as a galley. I started reading it and I said back in 2018, was it?
Yeah, 2018.
I have to get her on the podcast. You said yes to the dress. Poor Gretchen said yes to the dress. And I have done nothing but stalk her since.
Oh, no, I love it.
So she came on the podcast. We had a great interview. And then in the before times when we were in the building and we used to do Skype, remember Skype, everybody? My gosh, I sound like I'm like, remember Skype? Anyway, we did Skype and I invited Gretchen to come to the Merrick Library and she did. And we did this, we discussed this book. There were 45 people in the room to discuss Evergreen Tidings. And we had so many laughs. They loved the book. They gave it to their friends. They told their neighbors, and then we couldn't keep it in, so we had to buy more copies. I mean, that's a win.
Oh, yay. That's a great story. I didn't know that one. I do remember everybody had really good questions and comments, so we did have a great time.
It was a wonderful time. Yes. And then you were kind enough, and listeners, we'll get to it, but I want to make sure that you follow Gretchen Anthony on Facebook because she has on her Facebook page a show called You Just Gotta Laugh. She interviews wonderful authors. So it's this author on author interview. They have questions in there. It's just a great, great show. And I love watching it purely. I have a little glass of Dr. Pepper with me. And I
here's the if you forget my Facebook page, you can always find it on the website. JustGottaLaughBookClub.com. Yes, or my website, GretchenAnthony.com. So it's
great. I love watching it. And I don't know, maybe it was last year. No, it wasn't last year. Was it last year? Yes, it was. It was like
Carol Ann was a guest.
I was a guest.
One of my guests. It was so fun. See, I stalk you too.
You the Mutual Appreciation Club, right?
That's right. That's right. And we had so much fun.
I remember coming to you live from my kitchen.
Yep.
And we talked about Britt Marie Was Here, I think, by Frederick Bachman.
I love that book.
It's just, it's just a great book. So we had this great book discussion and there were audience participation. There were other librarians from across the country and just regular readers. It was so much fun. But then last year, while all of this is going on, Gretchen she's writing, and she presents us with her second book that kids are going to ask. Now, you guys know how much I love a good suburban drama. There's just something about things that happen in the suburbs, probably because I live here, that I find just incredibly intriguing. But I'm going to let Gretchen Anthony talk to you about what happened with this book and what happens to an author when you try to release a book during a pandemic. So, Gretchen, if you would, please.
Well, yeah, readers have probably heard, if you've heard any authors talk about their books, it does feel like, in a lot of ways, it's so personal when you release a book, because you're working on this thing for over a year and you're kind of in a hole, you're working on your, you're not getting a lot of feedback. And then suddenly to release it is this incredibly vulnerable thing, because it's almost like having a baby. You've kept the baby safe and you've done everything you believe that you need to do, and then you let this thing go. And in the midst of the pandemic, and I'm one of thousands of authors who went through this, so this is not specific to me, but it felt like shouting into a void. Like there was just nobody there to hear it. And so this little book of mine has gone tiptoeing quietly through the world, and it's slowly finding its readers. And I'm so glad, because actually this book in so many ways was really, really personal to me, not because of the subject matter so much, but the twins at the heart of it, 17-year-old twins, Thomas and Savannah. My son was 15 and 16 as I was writing this book, and he and his best friend were very much inspiration for the kids in it. And I think I was working a lot of stuff out as a mom as I was writing this book. And I remember when I finished the first draft, I actually cried. I cried because I was writing the scene about what they do at the end of the book and what their future holds for them. And
can I just ask, when you say you're writing the first draft, how soon after Evergreen Tidings did you start writing The Kids Are Going to Ask? Because the reason I'm asking is because originally the publication date was supposed to be May 19th, and that got pushed back. But what I love is that all your library fans, like all of us who knew we all had the galley, were like, yay, Gretchen's got a new book. And then they pushed the date back. So I'm just curious, because when you say you've finished your first draft, like time-wise, where was that approximately?
Well, one of the things that I have learned,
if you can share.
Yes, no. One of the things that's infinitely frustrating for me as a writer, although my editor assures me it's perfectly normal, God bless her, is that my first drafts are horrible. They're awful.
I don't believe that.
No, they are. They're just so bad. And so this one, like I wrote the whole first draft, and I had written, this is kind of interesting. I like hearing the behind the scenes stuff. I had written it in first person because I thought the story would be much more personal. And it just didn't work, particularly because I was trying to write these teenage voices in first person, and it just came across as juvenile, far too juvenile than they were. So then I needed to go back and rewrite it, and changing from first person to third person is just not as easy as changing pronouns. So part of the pushing back of the date was because it just really took me a long time to get this book right. It took me a very long time. And I missed my deadline. I think that was why it was originally pushed back. And then also there were just the release season that they had planned it for was front loaded because so many authors wanted to get their books out before the election hit.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then they moved me back to July, which kind of became, originally it was supposed to be a blessing because, everybody was in trauma, like over the spring, because that's when lockdown had happened. And then the week before my book release, Minneapolis, where I live, erupted in riots, understandably,
right,
because of George Floyd. And so it just, the timing for this tiny little book has just never sort of been in its favor, but it is tiptoeing along.
and so you can say tiptoeing as much as you want, but what recently happened with the second book of tonight's guest, Gretchen Anthony, The Kids Are Gonna Ask, this book, I'm telling you, when I saw the award announcement, I was sitting at the reference desk, that I was on Twitter, sort of pushing some of the events that were coming up, the podcast that I was doing, and I'm doing social media. And all of a sudden, I see this announcement from the American Library Association. And then I see that they announced the Alex Award winners. And I see that the kids are going to ask wins the ALA Alex Award for, is it 2021, 20? I mean, I screamed at the desk. I think the security guard came down to make sure I was okay.
I did this.
Yeah, no kidding. So tell me, how does that develop for you? So for me, I was completely off guard. There I am like I said, going through my things, helping patrons, picking up the phone, doing my thing, doing social media. And then I'm screaming because I'm like, oh my gosh, Gretchen, you won an award. This little book that was tiptoeing through the year. I mean, please explain this to everybody.
Well, the first thing that I have to be clear about is that, like, librarians, Caroline, I'm not saying this to flatter you. Librarians are like superheroes in my life. And not just to me, like, librarians are superheroes. You are. And there has been something about my books that librarians are so willing and generous to champion. I mean, it was the whole reason Evergreen Tidings, took off and did well. And now with this one, it didn't, as I look back at it now, it didn't surprise me at all that if it were to win an award, it would be an American Library Association award, because librarians are they're such wonderful champions, and they look beyond the factors that, the publishing industry itself would look at, or, and they put it in the hands of readers. So the way I found out about it, though, was really funny, because I mean, when I say it was tiptoeing through the world, I mean, I think it sold about 5 copies. I mean, it's just like, it just was overshadowed. It got great reviews and great blurbs, but it just got overshadowed, and that's okay. The world was blowing up. But my editor emailed me one day this fall, and she said, hey, do you have time, or maybe, no, it was like in January, do you have time to get on a video call tomorrow and do some brainstorming? And I was, already late on my new manuscript, and I was like, oh no, I'm in trouble. So I get on. I was like, sure, because I always act peppy even when I'm paranoid. And I got on, and there were like a dozen people on this call. So the first thing I did was hang up, because I was like, oops, I must have, I thought she hadn't finished with her last meeting or something. It's like when you get in on a call and you think it's just going to be 2 people, but it looks like the Brady Bunch on the screen. You're right. Like, no, I'm in the wrong place.
That's right.
And so I turned off my camera right away, and I hear Natalie in the background, my editor, say, Gretchen, if you're still on, you're in the right place. Well, it turns out that the committee, the Alex Award Committee, so the Alex Awards are given to adult novels, so novels that are written for adults that appeal to like teenage, kind of more advanced young adult readers.
Right.
And they're named after a librarian who just had a wonderful sense about how to match more advanced readers up with novels that, weren't too adult for them, but also dealt with issues that they might be interested in and things like that.
And there's so many in here. There are so many things for teens. And I love that matching of parent reading it with their teen, grandparent, uncle, somebody in their life who is a caregiver and exchanging thoughts about what's in this book. I think it's just perfect for the Alex Award.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, the cool thing about the committee was they decided that they wanted to personally award, before the big awards and the big announcements, they wanted to tell the authors themselves on video. So that's who was on there. I got to meet the committee, and I was like, I mean, honestly, I did this. My editor sent me a picture of it afterwards. She took a screenshot. I was like, yeah.
So and you saw the other recipients. You saw Rebecca Roanhorse and like all of the crap.
Nope, it was one-on-one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Gretchen.
they scheduled all of them one-on-one. Yeah. It was really a neat moment, because I could not have been more surprised. I could not. I mean, I went downstairs and my husband was working from home because of COVID, and he thought like someone in my family had died. He was like, "What's the matter?"
Oh my God.
So white, you know. So it was a thrill.
Oh my gosh. So having said that, I do want to mention that you mentioned the great reviews, and all of that is true. J. Ryan Straddle said that the kids are going to ask is moving, humorous, and briskly paced. It's a pure portrait of Minnesota nice, filled with empathy, wisdom, and characters you'll love to root for. Absolutely true. Abby Waxman has there's so many amazing blurbs here. I love that people compare it to Elizabeth Berg and J. Ryan Straddle. I mean, I think all of that is true. I would love to know what prompted this. So I'll ask you to briefly describe what the book is about with the whole podcasting thing, and then, which is just an incredible idea. And then what your inspiration was.
Yeah, that's an interesting story too. So the summary of the book is that 17-year-old twins, Thomas and Savannah, they decide to start a podcast to find their biological father, who they've never met. And they grew up with their mother and their very eccentric grandmother in Minneapolis. And tragically, their mom dies in a traffic accident when they're 13. And she never told them anything about their father. And now she's gone and they can't ask her. And she also really didn't tell their mother or their grandmother much, Maggie. So they have the opportunity to start this podcast. And the podcast actually gets picked up by a national company. It goes viral and their lives get turned upside down in the process. And it really is a question about, there are a lot of themes that run through it about, well, social media and privacy, and what does it mean to put your personal life out there? And, the inspiration for it, quite frankly, was, sort of twofold. One, I was under contract. So I had a 2-contract deal with HarperCollins Park Row Books, and my editor and Baumgartner's was well out there. And I was 200 pages into another book, and I handed it over to my editor to see what she thought. And she hated it. And she was right. She's wonderful, but we went back and forth, and she said, we worked on it for about 2 weeks, and finally she was like, I just don't think this is going to fly. And she was absolutely right.
Okay.
And so then I am panicking because I had come out of the corporate world. And when you have a deadline, Well, it's not quite like that in publishing, but I didn't exactly know that at the time. So I'm panicking, and when I panic, I procrastinate. So of course I'm on the couch watching TV because that's productive. And
what were you binge watching? You were binge watching something.
I know. Sadly, this is also when the Marjorie Stone Douglas Parkland shootings happened in Florida. It was short. It was almost immediately after that. And so I was watching the news coverage of this. And what happened, if you remember this shooting at that high school, was the students there, it was like 2 weeks before graduation or 1 week before graduation or something. And they put everything on hold, and they decided that the student body there decided that they were fed up. They didn't believe that adults were ever going to solve this gun violence program or issue in their schools. And so they took over the debate themselves. And immediately, within days, the country had split almost in half. You know, on one side, these students were heroes and they were to be lauded, and the bravery of taking on an issue as large as this. And then on the other side of the debate, the you know, there were accusations of who's paying them and how dare they and what did they know about this. I mean, absolutely vilifying these children. And they were children, you know, I mean, some of them may have turned 18, so technically they were adults, but
Right.
I watched this and I thought, if we can divide and debate and vilify kids over something like this, what other subjects would we do that about over with kids? You know, what other subjects would turn us so vigilantly against each other when it came to kids? And sex and privacy sort of became my answer. And I had always wanted to write a book about a podcast because I am a huge podcast listener, and I have been for years. And you were the first podcast I ever got to be on, the Merrick Library podcast. It was fantastic. Love it.
Merrick Library.
And for listeners, or for, you know, everybody who's watching, I told Carol Ann before we got on there, I'm thrilled that the podcast is taking off, but I'm not surprised because she's such a good interviewer. You bring so much energy.
I appreciate that. That's very nice of you.
I had always wanted to do a book with a podcast at its heart, but it has to be the right one. It has to be able to pull the story along. So when I
mean, this one is really seamless.
These two concepts.
Yeah, the way you join the two concepts, it's amazing. I didn't know. I remember reading the blurb before I got the galley, and I thought, how's that going to work? Well, I needn't have asked, because I'm in good hands with Gretchen Anthony. You will be in good hands with Gretchen Anthony. So it worked beautifully. I mean, there are scenes I had tears in my eyes, and you do, but you still do that Gretchen Anthony thing where you put these little things in there that you don't expect to happen, and you're like, oh. So I had some of those moments, which I won't spoil for anybody, but I'll tell Gretchen after we hang up. But so I appreciate that. I think it's interesting because you get the voices. Now, I was going to say I haven't been 17 in a really long time, but it's really only been like yesterday. So how you get the voices of Savannah and her brother, like, I don't know how. It's pretty accurate. It sounds accurate when I read it out loud, the conversations that they have, and then Maggie coming in there. It's very authentic. You have this ability, like you did with Evergreen Tidings, to just make the conversation seem like exactly the conversations these people would have. So I don't know how you do that, but I know with the twins, I don't know how you get that authenticity.
You know, it's funny. Some of the reviews have come in, and one of the more consistent things against the book has been that the teenage dialogue seems too juvenile. But then I started paying attention to it, and I noticed that the further out you are from dealing with teenagers, the more likely you are to think that. Does that make sense? So I kind of wonder if, you know, people are surprised to hear that that's how teenagers
are. And actually, you know what's really funny about those reviews who say that they sound on the juvenile side. I was on the other end of that thinking, oh my gosh, these kids are only 17. But they bring such gravitas to the matters at hand. You know, do they want to explore this avenue to find out about their mom's past? Do they want to do this in a podcast form? Do they want to sign up and maybe take this podcast and make it more universal and do talk shows about it? So to me, I thought, wow, these kids are really, they're 17-year-olds, like any 17-year-old thinks they know everything or has a lot of control, but they're kids. So you do that back and forth really well, at least in my mind. So let's just forget those other people because they're not here and we're not going to talk about them.
right. That's right.
Right.
Well, I mean, like I said, it does benefit me that my kids are just about that age. And I find in my next novel, I have a mother who, in my work in progress, I have a mother whose
Oh,
son
wow.
is
Wait, hold
graduating
on.
from high school. And I think I'm working through, and he just graduated and he's leaving for college, and she's a single mom, and she's working through all the grief that comes with that, because we raise these kids, we want them to be independent, we want them to be smart and out in the world. And when they actually do that, it breaks our hearts, and I think I think I was working through the 15, 16, 17-year-old age when I was writing kids. And so there's a benefit to that.
In fact, there's a couple of reporters in the book. And honest to goodness, I kept thinking, is it the reporter? I was like, that would have just, if you had done that, I would have been.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I do have a goal where, kind of like in the Marvel universe where characters walk in and out of each other's books.
Great.
Abby Waxman kind of does that too.
Yes,
and,
she does. Yeah.
Yeah. I do have a goal of doing that.
Oh my gosh. So I love that you said that you have a work in progress. That just, I will have a little sip of Dr. Pepper to toast that moment. So that is great news for viewers and listeners who are not familiar with the debut. I'm telling you, I'm not going to steer you wrong. This book is terrific. But also, the publishers have done something very interesting. They're releasing well, go ahead, Gretchen, you say it because I'm going to screw it up.
No, you won't screw it up. What they found was that Evergreen Tidings because it has a holiday title and a holiday cover, it has a great following around holidays. And it's really fun because the last couple of years it's popped up on like favorite holiday book lists. And so that's wonderful, but it's actually not much of a holiday book. It has a series of Christmas letters throughout, but it takes place over the course of an entire year. And so it's not really a holiday book. And so what my publisher decided to do was they wanted to find an entirely new audience for it. And so they retitled it Behaving Like Adults and gave it a new cover. Right now, it's only available in ebook as Behaving Like Adults. And they're just going to see. They're going to see if they've kind of done this experiment with other backlist titles. And so I'm thrilled that it was chosen, and I'm excited to see what happens.
It's great. I feel like it's Evergreen Tidings not being a holiday book is like Die Hard not being a holiday movie. We have this discussion.
And you can have that debate ad nauseum.
So next year, when this book, when everyone starts the Die Hard conversation, I'm going to go on Twitter and I'm just going to start as Evergreen. I am not kidding, Gretchen. I am your girl. I am on this.
I look forward to it. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Of course, my kids will be like, Mom. They don't
Please tell her not to do that, right?
No, because we always watch Die Hard around Christmas.
Everybody does.
Exactly.
In fact, if you watch Die Hard, you know that they always release it in July as well. So everybody's watching Jaws, and then on other channels, it's Die Hard. So for me, July is a win-win for me because I love Jaws and I live on Long Island and I love Die Hard. So for me, I get Roy Scheider and Bruce Willis. So,
and even if you don't like the shark, Jaws is worth watching for the mayor's pants. Because everything the
pants, his tie, his jacket, the anchors, this morning, this is just an example, but I think all Long Islanders do this. You go outside and you say, oh my gosh, it's a beautiful day. Somebody will inadvertently say, and the beaches are open. So that's the Jaws conversation that people on Long Island have because we get the whole, So it's very funny. So the ebook of Evergreen Tidings is called Behaving Like Adults. And honest to goodness, I don't know. I probably would have read it anyway, but Evergreen Tidings, just the title just drew me right in.
Oh, thank you.
And you know how much I love Violet, so love her.
She does make a cameo, unless it gets cut. She makes a cameo in my new book. So
you can't even put that out there with being potentially cut in the. You cannot put that in the ether for me.
I don't think it'll be cut. I don't think it'll be cut. Yeah.
Who do I write? Who give me that email? I'm gonna write that down right now. I'm gonna write that down.
And it's a very classic Violet scene. It won't surprise you in the least. So
she is one of the things we talked about again in the before times when we had you Skype in to talk about Evergreen Tidings which I was really excited. I love Olive Kittredge. I think that book is just like of all time. It's like in my top 5 or 10 or whatever, probably. Yeah, it's very hot. It's just an incredible book. So we had read that book as a group. So now you've got 40 some odd people showing up to meet you on Skype. And thank goodness someone said, she really reminded me of Olive Kittredge. And I was like, yes.
So was I, because there could not be a more high compliment. There could not be a higher compliment. Because Olive I love characters that they're difficult to love, but they're worthy of love. I mean, I love a quirky character, yes, but not quirky just for quirky's sake. Like, I think I'm better at writing those characters than I am putting up with those people in my real life. If that makes sense. Like, I try to write characters that are hard to love but worthy of it.
Also, one of the things we talked about this, because there is a grain of truth in those characters. Either you recognize it in yourself and refuse to admit it, or you recognize it in the people that you love the most but wouldn't dare tell them.
Right.
Right. Yeah. At least not unless you're a block away.
That's right. Yes. And you didn't need to borrow money anytime soon. Yes.
So I feel that with Violet, I feel that with Olive, I feel that, she's sympathetic. I feel Maggie, the same thing, is sympathetic, although Maggie's she's just great. I mean, she's just a wonderful character. But I think what particularly appealed to everyone, also even Emily Alone, who was written by, oh my gosh, his name just went right out of my head, Stuart Onan.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you talked about this book last time too. Yes.
Oh my gosh, he is. I mean, I'll read anything like you. I will read anything he writes, and I'll read anything you write. But he picks these prickly people.
Yeah.
And gives the background story, and then you sort of, that's what I think really attracts people to Violet Baumgartner. I mean, I think the way you just nailed that. And I don't know what the plan is. I mean, you kind of hinted at some of the things for the next book. I'm very, very excited. But I think also with the McClare twins, which honest to God, I had to practice not saying McClane twins, because that's John McClane from Die Hard, not what we're talking about. But you can see where my mind is with holiday book, and is it a Christmas book? Is it not a Christmas book? When you are doing your writing now and you're doing it full time, do you have like a place that you go to write, and do you like close the door on the dog, and what's your space like? When we Skyped together, one of the things that was behind you at the time, I don't know if it was your husband had like a framed, was it a framed copy of this or something?
Yes. Yeah. He had framed that for my first Christmas. Yeah. It was so sweet.
It was so nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to work in our office and I loved it because I could close it off, but then my husband started working from home, and he's on conference calls 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So, but now we have a loft in our house that we weren't doing much with. And now I work here and I love it. I actually, because I was going to be here and I felt like I was exposed, I made it into a place where I feel really comfortable writing. and it's worked beautifully for me. I've made it into a beautiful space. I finally said, you know, this is where you spend most of your day. So
well, it's your office, right? I mean, if you're going to make, if it's your office, you want it to be nice. You want to put your own things up on your desk and make it look pleasant.
And so, you know, and I try and be disciplined about the time that I spend writing, but, you know, sometimes that ebbs and flows. It just, you know, but
one of the things you do on Instagram is you brought some pictures of Tybee Island.
Yeah, I did.
And I love that you did that. So we'll talk about that in just a second, but where can readers find you on social media if they want to look up and see what you're doing, and where Just Gotta Laugh is going to be? And anyone who came in late, Gretchen Anthony has this fabulous author interview show that she does. It's wonderful. It's author interviewing author, and it's fabulous. And she has some great authors on. I think you had Julia Claiborne Johnson on not too long ago.
She came on to introduce her book, and then she's coming back. What I do is it's called the Just Gotta Laugh Book Club. There you go.
There it is.
Shoulder. I published the whole season at the beginning of the season so that people can read the books throughout. And then the authors come on. So people actually have read the book and they ask questions and things like that. So actually Julia came on as a special edition to preview her book. And now she's coming back at the end of May. So you can check out, I'm at gretchenanthony.writer on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm most active there. Sometimes I get a little snarky on Twitter. Like I get a buzz.
Twitter. I mean, you know, this is what happens when you're on Twitter.
Yeah, it's a good place to try out jokes. But
or not, as the case.
Or not. Yeah. But most of I'm most active on Instagram. So
and that's where you had these Tybee. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. And so a good portion of this book takes place on Tybee Island, which is a small little, very, very quirky. See, I have a thing for quirky, very quirky island off the coast of Georgia, outside of Savannah. And we had vacationed there, and that's part of the reason I decided to set sort of.
That was my question. To say, what made you choose it there? Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then we went back this year because it was so close to my heart. And so one of the things that I did when I was there is I took all these pictures of where a character named Jack lives there. And I took all these pictures that were the behind the scenes of Tybee Island and the places where the scenes were set and things like that. And it was so much fun. Like there's a big historic lighthouse there, and he's a fishing guide. So he brings fishing tours out. And so, yeah, those are all on my Instagram account too. So if you read the book and you're wondering what Tybee Island, if it's really that quirky and what it's like, you can go see the real places on my Instagram page.
Yeah, and it was like I was traveling. I was your armchair traveler. I kept showing my husband, look, you should go here. We go here.
You should. Tybee is so fun. Tybee is just
it looked amazing. It looked really great. So Julia Claiborne Johnson, I interviewed her for a podcast. She is a firecracker.
Isn't she?
And she's going to join us for a book discussion June 2nd, I think. So she'll be on with all of these readers, which is just great. So I'm really excited, but I love what You Just Gotta Laugh does. I love how you interview the authors. I love the content. So if anybody really, I would strongly recommend you check it out because it just introduces you, you know, there's not a lot that came out of an epidemic. Not a lot of good comes out of it, but authors being so available and everybody pivoting to Zoom and introducing authors to new readers. And it's just been wonderful. This creative energy just channels through these kind of forums. I mean, this show started out as a happy half hour over the summer because I didn't know how to connect with patrons. And I said, well, what if I just do this live show? And then it became kind of a trivia show. We called it a happy half hour. And I would either do Dr. Pepper or Capri Sun, as the case may be. So whatever it was. And then we decided, well, as we were thinking about it, let's start bringing authors in. And so that's kind of, let's bring in the authors, especially who published in 2020.
Oh, and we appreciate it.
Who we can promote, who in case you missed it. So that's just it's an easy win for me. It's an easy win for you guys. The patrons are like, let's get that book. And it's just been wonderful. So you are working on something. There's something that's a work in progress, which I'm
Yes,
very excited
yes,
to
I
hear
can tell you
about.
the title. The title's called The Book Haters Book Club. I don't know. That's a great title. The title actually is, I'm just hoping the book lives up to the title.
Well,
but it's coming out next, probably early next summer.
Book
like
Haters Book Club.
slating
Okay.
June 22. And it's about an iconic Minneapolis bookstore, and 3 unlikely people come together to they form an unlikely trio to try and save this bookstore. And as Abby Waxman loves to say, mayhem ensues along the way.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we are here for that. And then I will probably have you on the podcast for that. I'll probably bring you back. If you choose to, it would be an honor to host you on any forum, anytime, any day. And before I let you go, because it is getting a little late, anything that you're reading that you would like to recommend to readers?
Well, I am so thrilled that you're reading Better Luck Next Time by Julia Claiborne.
It's great.
Johnson, or Julia Claiborne Johnson. It's so wonderful. And then the last book we read in Just Gotta Laugh, we read books that either lift your spirits or that have characters that just make you feel better. You should leave the book feeling better than you went in. And the last one we read was by a fellow Minneapolis author named Kathleen West, called Are We There Yet? And
oh my gosh, she wrote, wait, what was her first book about the mothers? I love that book. I didn't read the second. What the heck was the first book called? Oh my gosh.
It has an apple on the cover.
I'm gonna look it up.
It's sitting on my bedside table right now. I can't. Kathleen West is her name.
I'm gonna look it up right now because that was great.
Yeah, and she's a really talented writer. And so, yeah, pick that one up too.
All right. Are We There Yet is the new one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she wrote Minor Dramas and Other Catastrophes. I mean, it had a little bit of that Where'd You Go, Bernadette thing happening with the PTA stuff. I mean, some of it was really...
the Minnesota Book Fairy, Pamela Klingerhorn, we call her the
great.
Minnesota
Love
Book Fairy. Yeah, she calls her the now I'm blanking. The Leanne Moriarty of Minneapolis, because she writes about moms and like mom clusters and mom culture really, really well. And this one, so pick that one up too. I love authors where you can read a book just for plot and you get through it, and then you get through it and you're like, oh, wait a second, that was really layered. Oh, and then the other one that you should read is by Amy Meyerson, The Imperfects, which came out. I have
not read that.
Oh, it just came out in paperback.
Okay.
And it's about this family that inherits historic, gigantic yellow diamond. So they have to go through the process of figuring out, like, what is this and how did it come into their family? And it's sort of, like windfalls tend to do, pulls family apart, and the family has to figure out how to heal itself again.
Whoa.
It's really good, and it's historically rich because it's the Florentine diamond, which is actually a real historic diamond that disappeared from, I think, the Habsburgs.
Wow. Okay.
So there's all kinds of history layered in, and then it's Amy Meyerson, and she's just like far too talented than should be allowed as a writer.
She is great.
And
I love that you said, so it's interesting because Julia Claiborne Johnson's Better Luck Next Time, I started reading it. I was listening to it as an audiobook, and her narrator, he was the guy, if I ever met him in person, I wound up 2 towns away just listening to him. And then I was like, where the heck am I? And people in Merrick, people who are local will know that I'm like almost in Seaford, Wantagh actually. And I was like, do I call my husband to pick me up? Like, what the heck is going on? He just does a beautiful narration of that book. He was funny. He does the women's voices, and each woman's voice, each one has a separate character inflection, but you know exactly when there's a dialogue, you know who's talking. And I fell in love with that book. And then after I listened to it, I actually read The Galley because I wanted to just see if I missed it, because there's certain things you miss, certain things you don't miss, but I wanted to just see it on the page. And then I told her that I couldn't read the book without hearing his voice in my head.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I get that.
So there's that funny scene where they're at the party and they're putting on the pieces of the horse costume. And I mean, I was rolling on the floor. It was a very funny scene.
May I just give a plug for anybody watching tonight? If you have the chance to tune in when Carol Ann has her on, she is something else. I mean, she is delightfully entertaining.
Yeah. In fact, tonight, she is interviewing on the same night. She is interviewing Gin Phillips.
Oh.
So I was like, well, what do we do? How do we get the four of us all together? But it was too late for me to like figure out how to construct that. But so she was interviewing, Jim Phillips and all of that. But I don't think the book club is quite ready. So you think I have energy? I mean,
yeah.
She's just amazing. Well, I can't tell readers enough about tonight's guest. I keep saying today because on the podcast, I do things during the day. Enough about Gretchen Anthony. Her debut was Evergreen Tidings from the Baumgartners, which now you can get it as an ebook entitled Behaving Like Adults. So it's that diehard, is it a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? It is a Christmas book. Is it not a Christmas book? You guys can be the judge, and then I expect you all to report back. So that was the first book. That's how Gretchen Anthony and I met. I brought her into the Merrick Library on the podcast, and then she Skyped in with us for book discussion. So I'm thrilled. Again, I think it's like once a year we see each other, which I'm thrilled to be able to do. It's like makes me so happy. But then this is the newest book. The kids are going to ask. Terrific book. It won the American Library Association Alex Award for crossover novel, which means you can read it with your teen, whoever your teen is, someone you love, someone your next door neighbor. I don't care who it is. It's a nice shared conversation about family secrets, truths, what you should reveal, maybe what you can't reveal. I mean, it's just, it opens up a whole lot of conversation, and it's just beautifully done. So
thank you.
I don't know. Would you like that on a ringtone?
I would love it. And then I'd walk around the house. Oh, excuse me, my phone is ringing. How did that happen?
Like, is that Carol Ann Tack again?
Oh, if there are any teachers or like school librarians watching, I've done now, since it won the award, school librarians are picking it up for like in-house book clubs.
Yep, it's great.
Book clubs, and I've done some Skypes with them, and these kids just have these fantastic questions. It's so enjoyable. So I'm always happy to join your school discussions or your book clubs or whatever.
We will make sure that we put that out there. Gretchen Anthony, as always, I am delighted to see you every single time.
And same here. Same here. I'm a big Carol Ann fan.
Mutual Appreciation Club. I think everybody was just we were talking so much, no one else could get a word in edgewise. Oh. But I do see a lot of people here. Donna is here, and I can't get the text to move around. So, Lori Fensterstock was here. Hi, Lori. I don't know if you're still there. Mwah, honey. A lot of fans are here today. So this is amazing. I am going to let you go. Everybody else, next month, I am hosting Denny Bryce. Oh, dear. What her book is called, I'm going to get it wrong, Wild Women and the Blues. So you'll get all the information for that, because that book is what a knockout. And book discussion next month will be with Julia Claiborne Johnson for Better Luck Next Time. So I hope to see you. Don't have to be a Merrick patron. Just log in, register, read the book, and come ready to have a nice time, because the book clubs always have a nice time. We get about 40 some odd people on Zoom to watch the book discussions. So Gretchen Anthony, you are wonderful. I love you to the moon and back. Mwah.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you for reading. And just, I promise to try and do you justice with the next book.
You guys, we have no worries. We are in good hands. All right, everybody, Merrick patrons and all of our friends who are out there, I am so glad you joined us tonight. I hope to see you soon. Stay safe and stay well. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.